This is a story about how I went from getting the worst grades to graduating at the top of my class. But to understand how I aced all my exams, we have to start at the beginning of the story. I used to be a pretty average student, and sometimes I didn't even want to do homework. I believed that homework was boring, pointless, and I would much rather play video games with my friends. There was one moment that changed everything for me. When I was 15 years old, I was in my room playing video games with my friends. It was a pretty normal day, but that day, my father had a meeting with my teacher, and she would tell him about how I was doing in school. I was pretty confident because I was doing alright. So when my dad came home, he told me that I was doing alright, and I was relieved. But then my father looked me straight into the eyes and told me, "Do you really want to be average?" And he was right, I didn't. I wanted to be one of the best students that my school had ever seen. I was just too lazy. So from that day on, I changed a couple of things in my life that helped me become an excellent student. So the first thing I did was that I changed my mindset. After that talk with my dad, I knew that if I wanted to be the best, I had to get interested in stuff. I had to be interested in math and science. And that was where my mindset had shifted. I wanted to have a new approach. I knew that if I wanted to get better in school, I had to be interested in the subjects, because learning can't be forced. So to be able to learn something new and be good at it, you have to be interested. And for the first time in my life, math and science weren't boring because I was genuinely interested, and that really motivated me to learn. But if my mission had to be sustainable, I had to find people that would support me. So I looked at everybody in my class, and I selected those who were, doing their homeworks and had a different vision. They had a vision of becoming good in school, and I chose to hang out with those people. And that didn't mean that I left my old friends. It just meant that I had a different goal. I wanted to find a community of like-minded students who also wanted to be great. And if you're watching this video right now and you're a part of a group where you don't do that much constructive things, consider new opportunities. I know it's not easy, especially if they are your friends, but you have to understand the chance of you still being friends with them in 10 years is very small, because people change. And that's what happened to me when I was 15. My goal changed, and I had to be with people that supported me. So if you're not with people who support you and have the same vision as you right now, maybe you should consider doing something about it. Because when I had a new group of people who had the same vision as me, I was much more motivated. I knew that this wasn't meaningless. It became much more easier because we could also relate to each other. They all wanted to fulfill their potential. So yeah, it definitely helped me a lot. The second thing that made me improve a lot was I would look at my notes and see if I could understand it. And if there was some parts of the subject I couldn't understand, I would try to research it myself and see if I could understand it. And if I couldn't, I would write a note to myself to remind me to ask the teacher the following day. And that really helped me a lot. And because when the exams came, I didn't have to study as hard because I understood the subject, and I didn't have to spend as much mental energy on learning new stuff. Besides checking for things that I didn't understand, I made sure that I prepared myself to the next day. So when I was finished with my study session and was done with all my homework, I would look at my schedule or program and check out what we have the following day. And I could see if my teacher wrote that we getting a new subject, or if I thought my teacher was introducing a new subject, I would research it. So I would Google it, I would search on videos, I would search for videos on YouTube about the subject, especially math and science. If my teacher in physics, for example, wrote a message to us about that we are starting a new subject, so I would make sure that to find out the name of the subject and search for it on YouTube and see a couple of videos before the class. Because when you come to class prepared and already have some kind of idea about what the class is about or the subject is about, it becomes much more easier to understand, and you will get a much better understanding of the subject than your other classmates. So yeah, making sure that I understood everything the teacher said the same day and preparing for the following day helped me a lot. If you're watching this video right now, please try this. If you know that your teacher is gonna introduce a new subject the following day, try and see one video about it on YouTube. I promise you're gonna have a much better understanding when you get the subject introduced. The third and final thing I did that helped me improve a lot was asking my teacher about everything. So if there was anything that I didn't understand, I would ask her. But I wasn't always this way. I used to be afraid of asking my teacher about stuff. I was afraid of her assuming that I was stupid. But now I realize that it's wrong. You have to be able to ask your teacher about stuff if you're confused or if you don't understand it. And I know that many people right now are having the same issue that I had. You're afraid of asking your teacher about stuff because you're afraid of her assuming that you're stupid, or you're afraid of getting judged by your friends. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if your teacher says something and you don't understand it, I'm 100% sure that you're not the only one who doesn't understand it. Other people in your class doesn't understand it as well, but they just don't have the courage to raise their hand and ask the teacher to elaborate. So yeah, if you're watching this video right now and you know that you're having this issue, please promise me that next time you don't understand it, try at least to ask your teacher. And if you still don't understand it, ask her again and again and again until you understand it. Don't be ashamed of it. I used to be ashamed and it didn't help me a lot. But when I switched my mindset and I realized that it doesn't fucking matter, she's literally getting paid to teach you. So stop overthinking stuff. You have to stop caring about what other people in your class thinks and stop being ashamed of asking because it's normal. Like, nobody was born smart. And the reason I'm here in front of you telling you that I graduated as the top of my class was because I didn't care. I wasn't born the top of my class. So those things that I mentioned in my video, they were the things that I changed. And I hope that you can watch this video and apply at least one thing, because I'm sure it's gonna help you. And if you have any ideas or suggestions you have for others, please write it down in the comments. You never know, it may help someone to be a better student. But yeah, thanks for your time. See you in another video.